In 1980, the price of a UK property was £21,000. In 1990, £58,000. 2000, £94,000. 2010, £169,000. And in 2020, it was £250,000. Taking this into account, is now a good time to buy a property in the UK? If not, then when exactly is the best time to buy a property? Let's take a look.
What's up guys, it's your urban educator Warren Goslin back with another financial wealth building video. If you'd like to show your support for this channel, please do so by hitting the like button and subscribing, that really helps. And recommend this video to somebody else on their wealth building journey. Appreciate the continued love and support from you guys. Peace.
Stick around to the end where I'll give you 3 bonus reasons to back up the final conclusion that we're going to come to in this video. Also guys, please help me out with the algorithm by hitting the thumbs up button and subscribing. When you do that, YouTube says, hey, these guys like this video, let's suggest it to these other people over here. I think they'll like it too. So, as you know, I invest in property. I have several across the UK, which I use for a mixture of buy-to-let and serviced accommodation. And each time I've bought, I've thought, is this a good time to buy? Should I maybe put my money into something else, a different asset perhaps, which is natural. But to be honest, those were pretty short internal debates for me personally. I very quickly landed at yes. Mainly due to the fact that the returns are preferable in property over the long term. I'm talking capital appreciation and yield. If you want more info on this, check out my recent video on buy-to-let versus stocks. I use historical data from the UK to compare how returns from property, total returns, compared to the stock market stack up. So watch that to understand more. It's actually one of my shorter videos, so it's pretty easy to digest and understand. And just to be transparent, guys, I invest in both property and stocks to diversify my returns. I invest in both, not just one or the other. So what are some of the most common reservations that I hear all the time when I talk to people on whether now is a good time to buy a property in the UK? The number one by far reason that I've heard is I'm waiting for prices to fall so that I can buy when it's cheaper. So we talk about this concept of timing the market with stocks quite a lot. And the same applies to property, guys. When you look at the predictions at the beginning of the year given by the large property companies and organizations out there, which try to predict how the property market is going to grow, what's going to happen to prices over the coming year, those quote unquote experts are rarely right, guys, rarely. Now, if the experts can't predict prices with all their resources, they have access to nationwide data, some of the cleverest analysts you've seen, their networks, then neither can you, right? When you hear someone talking about time in the market and it's going to be cheaper at this point, and I'm waiting until then, unless they're a literal psychic and can predict the future, guys, I think it's okay to gloss over and keep the conversation moving when they start to talk about that, guys. At the beginning of this video, we saw that the average price of a UK property was £21,000 in 1980, £58,000 in 1990, £94,000 in 2000, £169,000 in 2010, and £250,000 in 2020. Now, let's add wages into the equation. In 1980, the average annual wage was £14,000 and the average property costed £21,000. So the average property then was 1.5 times your salary. In 1990, the average wage was £16,000 and a property cost £58,000. So a property grew to 3.6 times your salary. In 2000, wages were £19,000 and a property increased to 5.9 times your salary. In 2010, wages were £26,000. The average property was now 6.5 times your salary. And now, most recently in 2020, average wages are £31,000. So a property is now higher than ever over the past 40 years at 8 times your salary. So it's clear to see that affordability wise, according to the data, the numbers don't lie, over time, we're becoming less and less able to afford property in this country, guys. Property was much more affordable for our parents and our grandparents in the 80s at just 1.5 times their salary, compared to now, where the average property is 8 times our salaries. And this is further compounded when you consider that mortgage lenders tend to limit their lending to 4.5 times your salary. That's a general rule that they follow, guys. So for people looking to wait and time the market in the future, the data shows us that this isn't a good idea. The longer you wait, the more your ability to afford a property erodes over time. And that's not an opinion, that's just what the statistics and the numbers for the last 4 decades tell us, guys.
Message!
So your best bet is to buy now. Now that's not to say that short-term dips don't occur over the short term, but the long-term trend is upwards. The second typical reservation that I've heard is there's a lot of economic volatility at the moment going on. The economy's in a bit of a mess. Should I buy a house in a recession? This is certainly valid, guys. Economic downturns often lead to tangible effects on the general population, such as lower incomes and loss of jobs, which will obviously directly affect a person's ability to make what for most of us will be the biggest purchase of our lives. So from that perspective, if you are directly affected by economic volatility, so by all means, hold off buying a house. So if your income's gone down, if you've lost your job, that's just pure wisdom, guys. Hold off. But let's draw a distinction between being directly affected by economic volatility versus our emotions and feelings about the future of the economy because of economic volatility. And what do I mean by this? Well, this lies within the realm of behavioral economics, but in layman's terms, human beings are not rational. One more time, human beings, us, me and you, are not rational, and therefore we don't always make rational economic decisions. So for example, say the economy is struggling, which it is right now, bad. Lots of companies are going out of business. Companies all around us are laying off workers. The media are telling us 24/7 that this is the worst economic recession in years. It's all going Pete Tong, but you're okay. You still have your job, you're working all the same hours, and your income hasn't changed. You're just watching the world burn all around you. A bit grim, but it is what it is. But you decide to put off purchasing a house and making other big investments, even though you can afford it and your income hasn't changed. That's non-rational behavior where decisions are being made from emotion rather than logic that actually hinders you rather than benefits you financially. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, guys. People say they're worried about the economy and won't buy a house in a recession even though they can afford it. Decision making based off emotions and fear and uncertainty rather than logic and facts. And guys, incidentally, during a recession when asset prices are falling is the best time to buy because you're buying at a discount. And with the economic current environment, we're in for a few more years of uncertainty and volatility at the very least, guys. There's a few things going on in case you haven't noticed, such as Brexit, the coronavirus fallout, not to mention the other economic shocks that are going to come in the future, because they always do. That's going to likely delay an economic boom and economic growth anytime soon, guys.
It's above me now.
I hate to break it to you guys. So if you're waiting until the economy is growing and booming again and it gives you that warm, tingly feeling inside to go ahead and invest those feel-good feelings, you're going to be waiting a while, guys. So as I said, consider changing your mindset to buy whilst asset prices are actually falling and depressed. Now, the last reservation is a general lack of knowledge on how to buy, which can act as a barrier in and of itself. If you don't know how to do something, you're likely to lack the confidence to take the steps to do it, and therefore you won't do it. And property, the realm of property investing, buy to let, is almost a closed area of knowledge. It takes a lot of digging and researching to wrap your head around how it works and what you need to do at each stage. That was certainly my experience when I started my journey along property investing. And a few resources for you. I would recommend the Property Podcast by Rob Bentz and Rob Dix. Very good, very informative, free knowledge. The Property Tribes Forum and the Property Hub Forum. These are 3 great resources that I used to get started. So those are the common reservations that we see, along with how to counter them. Now, I think there are also 3 other bonus reasons that I mentioned at the beginning that are present right now in our economy that may actually benefit a person that's looking to buy right now. The first is interest rates, guys. The base rate is at a historical low right now at 0.1%, and the average 5-year fixed rate mortgage is 1.79%, guys. That's a steal. A 10-year fixed rate mortgage is 2.39%. I would take that all day long. So it's a good time to be a buyer from a borrowing perspective. The second is the current stamp duty holiday right now. It's due to end on the 31st of March. You won't be charged for any stamp duty tax if you buy a property to live in with a value of up to £500,000. That's tens of thousands of pounds potentially saved in taxes. And this is a big incentive to buy a house now rather than later before this offer ends. At this point in time, we don't know. It's unclear whether the holiday is going to be extended or not, so watch your space. Then the third is the Help to Buy scheme that's been extended to March 2023. Now, I personally used this scheme to buy my first house. It is fantastic for getting people onto the property ladder, first-time buyers, guys. It's a huge help for people in our position because it's needed, guys, because house prices have risen at a rate that has far outstripped wage growth. So we're not able, our generation aren't able. So the Help to Buy scheme is fantastic for doing that, guys, and it's been extended to March 2023, I believe. So take advantage. Okay, so that's today's video, guys. I really hope it was useful. As I said, like and comment and share this video. It helps with the algorithm. You guys take care, and I'll see you next week.